Jill Martin, special guest, 1978 New York Yankees World Championship coach Disco Dom Scala from 7 to 7:30. The Ozone. With your host, former Major League Baseball player Orestes Destrada. From 7:30 to 8, reach out with host, New York Yankees community consultant Ray Negron, Frankie Valli's musical director Robbie Robinson, and psychologist Steve Vaccaro. Special episode celebrating Ray Negron's 50 years in baseball. That's coming up Wednesday, April 5th, live on the Chapters Network and the Tan Talk Radio Network.
Once in your life, you find her, someone who turns your heart around, and next thing you know, you're closing down the town. Best that you can do is fall in love.
Good evening. Welcome to Worth the Price of Admission. I'm your host, Jill Martin. This show is part of the Chapters Network, and we are live from Tan Talk Radio on FM 106.1, FM 102.3, FM 104.3, AM 1340, AM 1350, and AM 1400. If you have any questions about my show or regarding my late husband, Billy, please call us at 727-441-3000. My guest this evening is New York State Baseball Hall of Fame, Dom Scala. Before Dom joins us, I will begin my show with music photos from my time photographing for Live Nation Entertainment. The photographs transport us to worlds beyond our everyday experience, and here are a few of these. My first photo is of Jason Aldean, a great country western entertainer. The house was always packed when he was there. He always wore a big cowboy hat, so you had to be on your game to get his face in the low light. I was persistent. And back in the day with the pen and glass I had, I worked really hard, and I was happy what I got. Good old country business. My second photo is of the highly acclaimed guitarist, Joe Walsh. And Joe joined the Eagles in 1975 as a guitarist and a keyboardist. His first album with the band was Hotel California. This picture was taken on their History of Eagles 2015 World Tour shortly before Glenn Frey, their co-lead singer, passed away. Very sad. The band was great to work with, and they let me stay for 6 songs, A Night to Remember. Joe Walsh's talent is mesmerizing. He was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 1998. My next photo is of Jimmy Buffett. I photographed Jimmy going back well into the 1970s. My older sister promoted concerts in Squaw Valley, California, where our U.S. team was headquartered, and booked Jimmy the first time in December of 1976. Jimmy will always be a favorite of mine. He's a gentleman, and as most of you know, he loves to have a good time. He plays barefooted, and his crew is one of the best. They remember you and reward accordingly. And I've always said accessibility in that game is 50% of what you needed to have. Okay, joining me now is the very popular 2021 New York State Baseball Hall of Famer, Dom Scala. He's your hometown guy growing up in Brooklyn, New York. Welcome, Dom.
Hey, Jill, how are you?
I'm very good. Thank you for coming on tonight.
You look great.
Thank you very much. It's tough getting old these days.
You look great. And I love your pictures. Your pictures are awesome, man. Really.
Thank you. You were a standout athlete in both football, baseball, and I believe basketball.
Yes.
And you mentioned spending a great deal of time playing with your dad as a kid. Sounds like you had a great support system growing up. What a wonderful thing. You said your mom was always there for all your needs and sports injuries along the way. I'm sure you had a few.
Yeah.
She was the glue that held the family together, huh?
Yeah, in those days, that's what it was. I waited for my father. I remember he worked on the docks in Brooklyn. And, he had a tough job. He was out there all day in the cold and in the heat. And I would wait for him on the stoop in Brooklyn at 5 o'clock and with my glove and my bat. And he would take me out in the park for an hour, hour and a half almost every day because he knew I loved the game. And my mom, she was always there to clean me up, clean my uniforms every day, you know, when I was playing games through the years, cooking the food, taking care of my injuries. You know, we had those raspberries back in the day, so you know, she put the salve on, and it was just a great time back in the day in Brooklyn.
And are you an only child, Don?
No, I had a sister. She passed away, about 10 years ago. And that's my house right there that I grew up in Brooklyn.
I know. I found that on the internet the other day.
Yeah, that was a great find, Jill. Really, I had no idea that you can. I know you found it on Google, but that's a great find right there. And the park was right across the street from my house.
There you go, huh? Yes.
Yep.
Not a bad shot we found.
Very good. Very good.
You have been married for 43 years to the love of your life, Yolanda.
Yes.
And you've also been partners in the Scala jewelry for over 40 years, which I am lucky enough to have a piece or two of that jewelry from back in the day.
Yes.
My engagement ring Billy gave me came from you and Yolanda.
Great story about that. Yogi comes up to me and says, Billy would like to see you in his office. And I went, what did I do now? You know? Because I had always had a great rapport with the coaches, other coaches there at the time, him, Elston, Howard, and of course Billy, you know, because I worked hard and he appreciated that, you know, people worked hard. And I went in his office, you know, a little bit, you know, squeamish here, you know, and I said, what's up, Billy? He goes, hey, listen, I want to get engaged to Jill. You think you can get me a ring? I said, absolutely, no problem. So I came in with 5, 6, 7 rings the next day. He picked one out, and you know the rest.
Well, yeah, I love it to this day. One of my favorite pieces. You know, you have a beautiful daughter, Shanna. She has a private business, SRS Entertainment. You guys, her client list is deep. She's got Lady Gaga. She's got Madonna. All these people I wanted to photograph. What fun was that?
Yeah. She also has Paris Hilton too, which is was a big thing, you know. And I'm very proud of her. She was always a very good student through the years.
And knocked down gorgeous.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. And you know, she doesn't do as right before the pandemic. She was very busy, and then the pandemic came, and it kind of like slowed down, as you know, everybody in the world slowed down. But she also had her son Jackson, so she spends a lot of time with him, and she's still doing her business, which is great. And there he is right there. Love of my life, love of Yolanda's life right
Every
there.
time I see his little picture on Facebook, I just want to grab his little cheeks and kiss them.
That's what everybody tells me. He should be a model. But my daughter doesn't want to go through that stuff. So we'll keep him for ourselves.
Oh. Well, let's see. You have been 3 times Northeast College Conference Head Coach of the Year for Adelphi University for almost 2 decades, with a 567 winning percentage. And you are currently the longest tenured coach in the Panthers athletic department.
Right.
Yes.
Well, as you know, I retired about 2 years ago from Adelphi. And, you know, I was the longest tenured coach back then. And I had a great time there. I had some great players and great kids. You know what, Jill? I'm very proud of my kids that have gone through my system. The biggest
of signed Major League Baseball contracts, Don.
We had about 11 guys get drafted, another 15 signed pro contracts. But better than that, Jill, is that I'm so proud of most of the guys today that have nice families and great jobs. Because I always preach that with the guys. Hey, there's only going to be a very minuscule amount of you guys that are going to go on to the next level. So you have to do well in school and be good to people, respect the game, respect people, and you'll be better for it in the long run. And I can't tell you how many kids are on Instagram with me and Facebook, and then send me different messages. Coach, thanks for being part of my life and explaining things to me. I use those things in my business now. That makes me so happy.
Yes. And the picture that's up there right now is absolutely my favorite picture. Great.
I know you love that.
I told you, I sent you a note about that. Okay, so you were drafted in the 6th round by the Oakland A's. You signed for $15,000. I mean,
Yes.
back in the day, okay, that might have been okay, but come on. You played in the minors. Then you were acquired by the Yankees in 1978, I believe.
Correct.
Bullpen catcher, and then promoted to bullpen coach 81 through 86.
Right.
Which obviously included the 78 World Series, the 81
Yes.
championship teams. You worked with Yogi, Gene Michael,
Yes.
Korberg, Dick Hauser, and my late husband, Billy.
I had some great mentors, let me tell you. And I learned a little bit. I learned a little bit from each guy. I stored it in the back of my head, and I used it when I became a head coach. And, it's funny because I have a story that I think I shared with you a little bit. Billy was a great manager. He loved the running game. He loved to have the starting pitchers go as long as they can. I developed and I used that philosophy. I also used a lot of his plays that he had. Like, they don't use those today, in baseball. It's mostly hit the ball far and run the bases. But in those days, it was more bunting, hit and run, steal, do a couple of trick plays that Billy used to like. He did some first and third plays that we had. We had some cutoff plays on defense. Billy was all about the little bit of an edge. And that's the way I was with my guys. I always practiced the things that we did wrong in the games the next day. So if we had a bad day communicating on catching pop-ups between second and the outfield and shortstop and the outfield, I would work on that for an hour so we know not to do it the next time. And if we did get into that situation, you would know what to do.
Well, let's see. We've got a picture up here with you in the dugout, and Yogi Berra and Billy. Can we pull that one up? Here we go.
That was great. That was an AP shot.
Uh-huh.
That was an AP shot, Joe. We didn't have social media back then. So when they took that shot, that was in the papers all around the country. So let me tell you a great story about that. It was a rain delay. The tarp is on the field. As you can see, Billy is talking to me about some of the guys that he put in the lineup tonight. I was telling him about who was available in the bullpen tonight because certain guys were available. Certain guys threw a couple of different times during the week. And there's Yogi next to us. A reporter comes out and says, hey, Yogi, you think it's going to stop raining? And he goes, it always does. And there's a Yogiism that hardly anybody knew about. It wasn't in his book. A lot of people didn't know about it. And then Billy and I looked at each other like the Aflac duck. You know the Aflac duck? We go, like this. That's what me and Billy were going. We were looking at each other. Oh my God.
Yeah, he was a funny guy.
Yogi was the best. Yogi was great though. What a great man.
He really was. He was fun to be around.
What a great man. All of the coaches back then. Elston Howard. Mm-hmm. Art Fowler, who was Billy's best friend. His confidant. Yeah,
absolutely.
I mean, I learned so much from look at this. Beautiful. Go ahead, Joe.
Oh, no. We got Joe D here. We got Mickey, Scooter, and yourself and Bill Dickey. Oh, my God.
That's Bill Dickey. People come in my house and look at my photos. I have I have a nice man cave downstairs, and I have so many of these great pictures. And what I tell people when they see this picture, if you can name that guy that's next to Joe DiMaggio, I'll give you something. I'll give you a Yankee hat or something like that. And nobody can name him because that's Bill Dickey, the great Bill Dickey.
That's amazing, huh? Oh, God rest.
And Mickey Mantle is next to me. I'm listening to these stories that they're telling. And there's Phil Rizzuto with gum on his hat. You can see, they always put gum on Phil's hat.
Only to tease him, right?
Yeah, great stuff.
So, how did you get? Wait a minute. I hear about a nickname, Disco Dom. Where did that come from?
It's funny you should say that. I'll tell you what. I was in a club in Anaheim Me and a couple of the guys, and then a couple more guys came in this club. It was a famous club in Anaheim somewhere. I don't remember the name offhand now. And the next day in the clubhouse, Paul Blair is calling me Disco Dom. He's telling everybody, oh, you got to see Disco Dom dancing in the club, blah, blah, blah. And he's calling me Disco Dom. And that was it. And it's stuck. It's to this day. That's what they call
That's
me.
what everybody says. But do you have a favorite song? Like, what's your favorite song? Or what do you like to dance to?
Well, I love the Saturday Night Fever album. You know what I mean? The Dance Fever. I mean, that album was a classic. And, I grew up in Brooklyn in all of the clubs and danced, the hustle, and went to Studio 54 with the guys. I never forget that we would pull up with a limo. I would come out of the limo with some of the guys on the team, whether it be Goose or Bucky or whoever. And all of a sudden, there would be 10 deep, as 10 deep waiting to get in Studio 54. And then the bouncers would say, okay, give them some room, let them in. And we would walk straight in Studio 54. It was unbelievable. Pays to know the best.
Pays to know the best, doesn't it? Huh? I don't like to stand in line either.
Yeah, no line for us. We were right in.
So what was it like working with Billy?
I'll tell you what, as I said, I enjoyed Billy. I mean, I was with him 5 different times, as you know, back and forth.
You had a lifetime contract.
Exactly. Him and George, George knew how valuable he was. That's why he kept him around. Billy was a guy that not only did he know the game of baseball, but he instilled a certain fabric and Yankee tradition. When you looked at him, you saw World Series hero. You saw a guy that is so passionate about the Yankees and winning. That's why you want to do it. And that's why he rubbed off on me. You know something, Jill? Honestly, I felt sometimes when I was in the dugout at Adelphi and I was doing some things and saying some things, I felt I was Billy Martin. I really did. There was some of the things that I said and the way I did it and the way I said it and the way I went about my business, is in my mind, and I would say, God, that's just like Billy would do. And that's a tribute to a guy that was one of my mentors. Gene Michael was another one of my mentors, just like that. Another guy like that, passionate about winning, passionate about the Yankees. And when I first went to Adelphi, I brought the Yankee way to Adelphi. They had to wear jacket and tie on the plane when we went to Florida and we went on trips. Okay, I kind of lightened that up as we went along, but I told them, no long hair. You can have a mustache, you can have sideburns, but you can't have a beard. I did all of that stuff, and you know what? We became winners. I took a 6-36 team to the playoffs the following year, and we were 20-20 and went to the playoffs because I instilled the Yankee way.
Yeah, and he did a lot of we instead of I. Do you remember that?
Yeah. Listen, to get along with Billy, all you had to do is play hard and play tough and be honest and care about the team.
Care about the team. You got it. So
he
let's
felt
talk about how you went to protect him one night. We were in Anaheim a long time ago. We stopped in downstairs at the hotel bar restaurant to get something to eat and drink. And go ahead, tell the story.
Yeah, so, we were all sitting around. I remember it was a bunch of the coaches, you, Jill, some of your friends. And what happened was there was a guy that was standing at the bar a little bit higher than where we were. We were kind of like in a lower area. And he was yelling at Billy, hey, Billy, let me buy you a light beer. Of course, Billy just did the light beer commercials. And he said, let me buy you a light beer. So Billy is kind of going like this, and we're all talking. We were all talking together. All of a sudden, the guy was really, really yelling. So I went up to the guy and I said, listen, do me a favor. Thanks for the beer. He really doesn't want it. He's with his girlfriend. He's with some friends. The the guy kind of like razzed me. He said, "What are you, his bodyguard?" So right then and there, I started getting that Brooklyn itch that, hopefully nothing's going to happen, but I felt something. Went back downstairs with Billy, but kept my eye on the guy. The guy starts coming around with the light beer, comes down the stairs, and then I kind of told him, I said, "This is not the time." And the guy like grabbed me, and we started wrestling, and I wrestled him to the ground. Now, he said I banged his head 15 times on the ground. Jill, I don't know if that's true.
I was there. That didn't happen that way, but
I think I just fell on top of him because I was stronger than him.
Have you ever seen Billy discriminate against a player because of his race or his color?
You know what, Jill. We all don't want to get into race stuff or anything like that, but all I can tell you is this. As I said, if you played hard, if you did the job, if you were a true Yankee, okay, and you played the game the Yankee way, it didn't matter what color, creed you were. He put you in the lineups. Let me just say, we had Chris Chambliss, we had Roy White, we had Willie Randolph, we had a bunch of Afro-American players that played, and Billy was very fond of. I know Billy hugged them so many times. I've seen Billy hug them in the clubhouse. And
my husband was colorblind. Okay, that's my opinion. That's what I saw for the 10 years. And that's how.
Yeah. No, I like I said, we all get judged sometimes, because people want to make excuses for certain things. And I'm not saying who that is, but it's happened to me too in my lifetime coaching. Everybody does different things.
Yes, exactly. And you just get up the next day and you keep going. And
listen, it's about a body of work.
It is
His body of work. Everybody knew.
And
if
you
you loved the Yankees, if you played hard, if you instilled the Yankee tradition, he loved you.
And you know what? That kind of gets to a little bit about what you moved on to do with all of your baseball camps and Dom Scala Baseball, the 1-on-1 Baseball Academy, your dedication, in teaching the younger players and instilling importance in the education is just amazing. You're quite popular. I was taken by a few of the accolades that a couple of moms and dads wrote, and I was taken by one of a couple of kids came to one of your baseball camps, and they couldn't wait to get home to Skype their dad, who was a soldier in Iraq. They were so excited about the medals. Can you imagine what that father thought at that moment? I mean, where did you grab your inspiration from, Dom?
Well, thank you for bringing this up. It's very dear to my heart. Jill, I really feel very passionate about teaching kids the fundamentals of the game and I tell these kids that are 5, 6, 10, 12 years old, I'm teaching you the same things that I instill in my college kids, only I'm going to teach you at a little slower pace. But whatever you're learning now, it's like when you ride a bike, you start riding a bike, you go a little bit at a time, then all of a sudden, you're pedaling, you got your hands off the handlebars because you know what you're doing now. Well, that's the way it is in baseball. If you do the fundamentals now, if you learn the fundamentals now at 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 years old, you're going to use those fundamentals through the years, and it's only going to get easier because the game speeds up. That's the only difference. The game speeds up at every level. You go to high school, it speeds up. You go to college, it speeds up even more. And then when you get in the pros, there's not much time to think. It's about instincts. You got to have the instincts, and you have to have the mental preparation, and you have to know what you're doing. You can't think about, I got to get in front of this ball because Dom Scala told me to get in front of the ball. No, you got to do repetitions when you're younger. You do 100 or 200 repetitions, and then it becomes second nature to you. So that's what I want to do. I want to teach the kids. And the biggest thing, Joe, one more thing, I want them to love the game of baseball. Because if you love it, you're going to keep doing it.
And so how does someone donate to help your cause, to help these camps, to help sponsor kids? What happens? How does someone go about doing that?
Well, I do have certain sponsors. I have the Italian American Baseball Foundation. They sponsor They do all of my trophies. I have Essential Water. They send us water, 20 cases of water a week for the kids.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and they also pay for our T-shirts. Everybody gets a T-shirt. And like I said, the IABF pays for the awards. Now, every kid gets a medal, and then I have special awards for each group of kids that we have. We usually have 3 groups. We have like the rookies, the minors, and the majors. And that goes by age, and it also goes by skill also. But, you know, it's just, I love doing it. I do a fall camp. I do a winter clinic indoors, and then I do 4 weeks in the summer outdoors, 1 week in Garden City, and 3 weeks in my hometown of Queens at Our Lady of Hope Field, which is my parish.
That's fabulous. Well, Don, you've had such an amazing life, and I want to thank you so much for joining me this evening. It's been a pleasure, my friend. We go back a long way. I hope you come back and talk to me again, because there's so many stories that, you know, that we just didn't touch on that I'd love to hear, and I know that you'd like to express. But what a heck of a job you're doing for all the younger people that are coming out trying to learn about this game and live their lives. God bless you, my friend.
Thank you very much, Jill. I appreciate it. I'll come back anytime you need me.
Absolutely. I hope to see you soon. Okay. All right. Thank you, my friend.
Bye-bye. Have a great
Best to Yolanda.
I will. Thank you very much.
All right.
Bye-bye.
I want to thank you all for coming in and joining us this evening. I'll see you next week when my guest will be New York Yankee retired infielder Brian Doyle. But don't change the station just yet. I've got my buddy Arrested Destratus coming up with his show, The Ozone. Have a great week.
Once in your life, you find her, someone who turns